when your dream is so big that other people's dreams fit in it, that's when you attract and draw other visionaries.
Did you always feel like you wanted to be in ministry, or was it one of those things where you're like, I want nothing to do with that?
People who actually are too eager to be in ministry actually make me nervous.
A lot of seasoned saints are walking in defeat and fear, so they don't feel bold enough to correct.
Yeah.
And then a lot of young people are walking in arrogance and delusion, so they don't know that they need direction and correction.
Some of us have problems to be solved, and sometimes we have tensions to be managed. And if we call the tension a problem, we'll spend a lifetime trying to solve something that I'm not supposed to solve, I'm just supposed to manage. To constantly berate each other and degrade each other is an assumption that God didn't put as much value in them as he did in your generation. And I think we have to dismantle this idea that because they like something of old, they're wrong.
Yeah.
And because you want something new, you're wrong.
Yeah.
I don't downplay your visions, and you can't downplay my dreams.
This is so good.
Don't bring no drama my way. Don't bring no drama my way. Don't bring no drama my way. Yeah, I might have a great day. Don't bring no drama my way. Don't bring no drama my way. Don't bring no drama my way.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of I'll Just Let Myself In with your girl, Lish Speaks. This is the podcast where we do not wait for imaginary permission slips. We don't wait for anybody to give us a seat at the table. We walk through our God-given doors. We just let ourselves in. If this is your first time experiencing this, you're going to have a good time. If you're back for another episode, I thank you. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. I have an amazing guest today.
Chill.
Incredible guest.
Chill.
He is a pastor. He's a dad and amazing husband. He is a musician. I would say rapper, but you do more than just rap. He's a musician.
Yeah.
He's a master of divinity, a clothing line owner, a podcast host. And I know I'm forgetting some other things.
Nah,
He's a PK, so you know you're finna preach.
That's enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Deshawn Robinson. Give
What's
it up,
family?
Listen, man, I'm so happy to have you here.
I done let myself in.
You didn't let yourself in.
Here we go.
Listen,
Let's get it.
Before we get started, I have one of the most amazing segments in podcasting, if I do say so myself. It's called What I'm Stepping In. It's where I show you guys what I am wearing for the day. Today, I'm wearing a shoe that you guys have seen before. I wore this shoe on an episode in the first season, but I wear my shoes, right? I'm not buying a new shoe.
Wear your shoes.
Yeah, for every episode. You know what I
Wear
mean?
your shoes.
I wear my shoes. So these are the 2024 Air Max 95 Atlanta pack that came out. Many of the stores had them. I got mine from Soul Play. Shout out to my family at Soul Play.
Tough.
I get almost every shoe that I have from Soul Play. So Soul Play, let's have a conversation.
Okay. Talk that sponsorship.
Nah, Soul Play shows me so much love. But I'm thinking about this episode and the next episode.
Right.
From Soul Play. So, but yeah, I got these from Soul Play. Love this shoe. It's an Air Max 95. It's a classic. Super comfortable. So it matched with the hoodie, which we'll talk about in a second.
That hoodie nice.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
That hoodie
but you know what I
nice.
say here on our podcast. If you like them, go get you some. All right, so let's talk about this hoodie real quick, and then we're going to get into all the other credentials.
Let's talk
like
about
I said,
it.
you have a clothing line. It is called Free the Soul.
Yeah.
And I love this hoodie because it says free indeed.
Yeah.
Right? And whom the sun sets free.
It's free.
It's free indeed. So
My.
give me some of the inspiration behind your clothing line, your music, just all the creative endeavors that you have outside of all the other things you do.
Well, that's interesting. That's a wide and broad question. So I'm gonna go wide before I go deep. I think specifically with Free the Souls, my wife said this, and I'll never forget this one line that she dropped on me. She said, "The clothing line is literally a dream come true." And here's what she meant by that. I never in my wildest imaginations wanted to. Now I'm a fashion guy. I like fashion. I like
we
pieces.
Can't help
We
ourselves,
can't.
We're gonna get into that later.
We're cultured people, right? So we like pieces. It ain't just clothes. It's like pieces. It's decor. It's art, right? So, but I never saw myself doing clothes as like a way to earn money, or even forget earning money, but just impact the world or imprint legacy in the world. But one night back home in Brooklyn, sleeping, had a dream rather.
Mm-hmm.
And in the dream, I'm like seeing myself like make clothes, but it's like I'm hearing free the souls, free the souls, free the souls, free the souls, but it's on repeat in the dream. And then, you like wake up out of a dream. It's like you still saying what you were dreaming. That's what happened to me. So I woke up. I was like, free the souls. What is that? I'm not an artist in terms of like drawing that much, right? Like I used to a little bit, but I'm not like super duper artistic when it comes to that. And I get a pen and a paper to try to figure out like, what did it mean? So I'm prepared to start writing words. The thing I'm good at.
Yeah.
I don't even. I'm trying not to be preachy. I'm trying not to be preachy because I picked up the pen thinking I'm about to do something I'm already used to, that I'm already good at, and instead of writing, I started getting a vision of this like snakeskin cap, and it was called. This idea came to mind. I call it the free from the serpent. I'm like, okay. So I start drawing out the cap, and I'm like, what does this mean? What am I supposed to do with this, right? And then my wife wakes up the next morning. I'm like, yo, I had this dream. I'm like, clothes was never on my mind. I don't draw. But yo, check out this cap I did. What you think? She like, fire.
Amanda's
she gets online.
She lit.
She start researching how we start, where do we go, vendors, stuff like that. So, and I mean, I don't want to segue. I don't want to move too fast with your agenda.
Tell your story. We got edited.
I do think like that's part of the value of partnership, especially with the spouse. It's this. Wives have this ability to materialize things that are seeds in us, right? So it's like, I know we look at that, be fruitful and multiply. Command in Genesis is something for Adam and Eve just to fill the world with kids. But it's much deeper than that.
Yes.
It's much deeper. I think there is seed and womb that is not just physical. Yeah. That when the two people, the right two people come together, there's like a manifestation and a materializing of that. So she helped to take a seed and like make it bigger, make it greater. Shout out to the wives out there materializing the seeds that are dropped from the husband and man of your house. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about your wife and your kids in a bit.
So that's how it came about. Those literally started as a dream.
Yes.
And then just like, okay, let's get to it. I don't want to do this, but I feel a prompting. Let's go. You know what I mean?
So, I love that. Yeah. Let's go back a little bit into your childhood. You are a preacher's kid from Brooklyn. Yeah. Your dad pastored the church for 32 years, right? Something like that.
A little more than that. Was 93 is when he started. So now, you're right. I'm sorry, 93, 32. So, come on, do research.
A little research.
My bad, Dad.
And so, did you always feel like you wanted to be in ministry, or was it one of those things where you're like, I want nothing to do with that?
What? I'm gonna say this. I'm actually, people who actually are too eager to be in ministry make me nervous.
Yes. Because you don't know what you're asking for.
Not only first of all, you romanticize something that's bloody. So you make it sound like a fairy tale when it's a lot bloodier than you realize. But in addition to that, not only is there's this like misassessment of what it takes to do it, but in addition to that, it's like let me not say all, most or many biblical figures that I see who are being called into ministry always have some resistance or some doubt initially. Most, maybe not everybody, but most, right? Moses is like, you sure you want me to go to Pharaoh? I ain't the one. I got a little stuttering problem. I don't talk right. Isaiah's like, I'm a man of unclean lips. Jeremiah's like, hey, I'm too young. Right? Gideon's like, I'm the least in my family. My family's the least. Like, I can keep going, and it's like nobody really wants to do this. Yes. So people who really want to do it make me a little bit nervous because that means you actually don't understand the cost and the toll. So, no. I did not want to be a bit. I don't care how many tongues I saw my dad speaking or people I saw healed. That was never something I wanted to do, in spite of the fact that I started really early. People would think that like, oh, you must have wanted to. Yeah. I got licensed I preached my first sermon at 17. So I was in my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
And I was like, but people don't know how long I was running because I was hearing God before then.
Gotcha.
So like, it looks like, oh, you accepted young. You must have wanted to do it. It's like, nah, I heard him from my youth.
Yes. Same.
You feel me?
I definitely
it was like, no, I don't want no parts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah.
It was not something I wanted.
So when the calling came and you could no longer ignore it, right? What do you feel like was the prompting for you to answer? Was it that 17-year-old preaching that sermon? Was it after you get to Princeton and you study, I know it was before then because I know you.
Right. Yeah.
But, for the people, was it when you get your Master's of Divinity, when did you feel like, no, I got to answer this call in a real way, full-time kind of vibes?
That's a good question. I don't know if I ever got that moment where it was like, to me, like right now I work in full-time ministry, like as a career. But
that's a very important sentence. That's a very important sentence. But I'm gonna let you finish.
I was about to say, because we can go if you want to go there. We can go.
Yeah.
I work full time like as a career, but I'm a firm believer in like 1 Corinthians 15, where Paul admonishes the church at Corinth. He said, "Be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work." So like for me, without employment at the church I work for,
full-time ministry.
I'm like full-time ministry.
Same.
All the time.
Same.
Full-time ministry. So for me, outside of the walls of the church, I'm full-time ministry.
Yeah.
If I believe I have a calling and I'm called to impact the lives of others, I'm in full-time ministry.
Same. And I always tell people, the funny thing about it is if you go to the right church, they are only hiring the people who would have did it for free.
Yes. Ooh, wait a minute.
I go to a church, they hired me because of what I was doing for free. When I first went into ministry when I was 20 years old, I was traveling from Brooklyn to Harlem, leading a campus ministry 6 days a week, studying the Bible, was baptized for free.
Come on.
Free. And I was going to do it, period. You know what I mean? It's the same way with my gifts. I would do music for nothing.
Right.
So God gives me opportunities to earn.
Right.
And I think he does serve. And I got to go back to that sentence because that is a lesson I learned the hard way. That ministry, full-time being paid, it is what you do for a career.
Yeah.
I am fully in that season of my life now. So much so that I'm like, God, you could take it if you wanted to. Because it wouldn't change me and you.
Right.
But there was a time I didn't know that.
Right.
And I've talked about this on other episodes. There were times where I didn't think God loved me more because I was in ministry, but I thought he would love me less if I wasn't. I didn't realize this is a job. And what I knew in my heart of hearts was that I was called to ministry, but I knew it wasn't the only thing I was called to.
Yeah.
But I was in a space where people didn't want me to be called to other things.
Yeah.
So when God started blessing the other areas of my life, the ministry I was in at the time, the support for it couldn't be there to the point where I got let go.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Wow. And so it was. And I've been apologized to, and everything is fine.
Sure.
People have come around and said,
right.
Ain't no beef like that.
Ain't no smoke right now.
We good.
Right, I got you.
But it was God. That had to happen to me.
Yeah.
Because ministry was an identity. When you go into ministry young, especially as a woman,
it starts to
when you
form who you actually think you are as a person,
and how you think God feels about you, and how you think God's people feel about you.
Right.
And so God had to say, you know what? We're going to let this get taken away so that you can understand that this is a career choice.
Come on.
And that I can use you any way I want to.
I can put you in banking and you still going to be prophetic and gifted and creative.
Wait. Did you know that I went into banking after that?
No, I'm just flowing.
I'm finna run.
Don't run.
I'm about to run.
Since you know me, it don't take nothing to tap in. We there. I was just flowing. I just said that as an example, but
because I was working for Bank of America.
I did not know that.
And I was miserable.
I
said, Lord, I don't believe this is what you have for me, but I'm going to do it. And literally, I went to one of my friend's birthday parties, and he was like, hey, we were going to a church at the time. It was during the pandemic. And he said, hey, I don't know if you know, I'm not going to Bridgepoint anymore. Shout out to Bridgepoint. Love Bridgepoint. Was my first church that rescued me when I got to Georgia.
Wow.
I got to Hartsfield Jackson a mess, and Bridgepoint took very great care of me.
I love that.
He was like, yeah, I'm not going to Bridgepoint anymore. I was like, oh, where you going? He was like, yeah, Cornerstone Church in Duluth. I had never heard of Duluth.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm a youth minister. And I said, you need a co-leader? But I was joking.
Yeah.
I thought I was joking. And he was like, actually, yeah, I do. You
Like,
know,
I'll take it.
fast forward, I interview, I become his co-leader. He leaves 6 months later.
Wow.
Right? We're still good friends, my dog.
Yeah, sure.
We leave 6 months. He leaves 6 months later. Fast forward now, over 3 years later, I'm the associate minister, their first female associate minister in the history of the church.
Wow.
So God had a plan, but I was
on.
definitely at that bank.
Yeah.
So that's crazy that you said that.
I was just flowing. Just flowing. I didn't know y'all.
That's crazy. But it's important to see it as a career. I think it
Yeah.
informs the way you serve.
Absolutely.
You can serve from your heart without this,
Yeah. Yeah.
thing of identity. It's important.
I think to go back to something you said about when something matters to you and it's purpose fulfilling, not just fulfilling to you, but it's actually making an impact in other people's lives. You don't have to get paid because there's a reward that's almost intangible, right? It can't be touched. It can't be witnessed in your bank account. It's an intangible reward, right? Like people can award you, but God rewards you, right? Like I can put a plaque on my wall and get an award, but God rewards. And sometimes it's not as substantive as the awards, right? But it's something deeper, right? So the church I work for now, that I'm a campus pastor at, an associate pastor at, like I was their intern, finishing up an internship. I wasn't there to work to get a job. I was interning for nothing. But it was what was being done in that stage that people were like,
something different about
something
you.
different. You sure you want to leave? You can stay. You know what I mean? So it just struck that memory in me that's like, yo, you spot on with that.
And it was crazy because at the last church that I've talked about, Bridgepoint, I led their singles ministry with another single brother before I was married for free, for nothing.
Right.
I mean, I worked my full-time job.
Yeah.
And just go. So I think God just sees your heart. And some of us, we just can't help but lead people.
It's in
I
me.
can be quiet and I would be leading people.
Ah,
It's in me. They want to follow.
so good.
I could be silent in a room.
That's
People
right.
Like, well, what do you think? And I'm just trying to like not, because sometimes every room ain't your room.
Yeah.
I understand time and space very well.
Yep.
And there are plenty of times when I'm like, this ain't my room.
Right.
And people, well,
You
Lish,
gotta be
what do you think? And
Right.
Well, since you asked.
It's a lot going on over here. I was going to be quiet.
But I appreciate that God really does allow people like us to have influence. And, when I say people like us, I'm specifically speaking of young New York, Brooklyn. We don't necessarily sound like the typical this or that. But we have a God-given gift. Yeah. And so let's talk a little bit about your upbringing in Brooklyn.
Let's do it.
And how that kind of informs and impacts who you are as a dad, who you are as a husband, who you are as a preacher.
Yeah.
A man.
That's a good question. So I was born in Crown Heights section of Brooklyn.
Nice.
Lived there till about, I think,
what street?
5th grade. We were on Empire Boulevard.
Okay. Yep.
Shout out to Empire.
My grandmother
roller
owns
skating rink.
Right across the street from White Castle. That building right across the street from White Castle. My grandmother, my Nana, my father's mother, God rest her soul, owns an apartment that my family still owns in that building.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so I was running around Tivoli Heights and Ebbsfield with all the homies. So anyway, Tivoli Towers rather in Crown Heights, and Ebbsfield with all the homies. So yeah, that's my old stomping grounds. Empire between Nostrand and Rogers.
Gotcha.
Is
I know
where
exactly where that's at.
Yeah. So lived there till about 5th grade.
Okay.
And then we moved to how do I say this? Not so pleasant neighborhood, right? We moved
Don't
to
you say Bed-Stuy.
Brownsville.
Oh,
No.
never will.
My wife is from Bed-Stuy.
I'm from Bed-Stuy. My dad's from Brownsville.
My wife is from Bed-Stuy.
It's hood over there.
But yeah, it's hood.
Still, to this
So
day.
we
That's the
moved
only part of Brooklyn that's not gentrified.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
scared of Brownsville.
Like, they don't come in here. You know what's up.
Yes,
you know
I
what's
do.
up. So we moved to Brownsville. It was a little closer to the church my dad pastored. So I think one of the most formative things I used to see was the fact that my dad was a resident in the neighborhood that he served people. And whether it doesn't have to be the church context, right? Like you can think of police officers, you can think of other different professions, but there is something that strengthens your impact with people when they see you're not afraid of them, that they're not an other to you. And that was formative to me. My father used to do this thing called Boys in the Hood basketball tournament.
Nice.
He would get different preachers from like his different brothers in ministry, get them.
That's
They
dope.
would play against Bloods and Crips.
Wow.
They would play against Bloods and Crips, do basketball tournaments. If the Bloods and Crips lost, they would have to drop their flag, stuff like that. He's done gun buyback programs, all that stuff. Partner with law enforcement, do gun buyback and things like just like I've seen flags and drugs dropped at the altar, like just in it. You know what I mean? Like in it, and that was super formative for me. I'm also one of 6 though, right? So I got 3 brothers, I got 2 sisters, right? So living in it was a 3-bedroom house, but when it's 6 siblings, 2 parents, that's 8 people. That ain't enough room, right?
Like might as well be a 1-bedroom.
Might as well be 1-bedroom. Right? So, you learn the value of community. You learn the value of sharing, right? And genuinely caring for someone else.
Yes.
And those things were super formative. But we were also in Brownsville. Yeah. We were in Brownsville. Yeah. So we had to know how to fight. Yeah. We had to know how to stand up for yourself. Yeah. Right.
You gotta talk quick.
You gotta talk
and
quick.
Get what you gotta get.
Man, I was in everything. So, a lot of things that we didn't got time to start going through and digging through, but so many things God rescued me from. Yeah. But when I look back retrospectively, it's like I realized his hand was never not on me. I know that's a double negative. I know. Yeah. But his hand was never not.
You want the president. You can use a double negative. We know you smart.
Right. There was never a season where his hand was not on me.
Yeah.
Right. And I was in my prayer time the other day, and I'm like boo-hoo crying. I'm in my closet like I'm going, like literally there's an audit happening where the Holy Spirit is just bringing up things that I'm like, I shouldn't have made it out of that.
Yeah.
And yet and still, his hand was on my life, and he gave me experience once you get exposed, you can't get unexposed.
Yep.
So he gave me experience that I can't take away that makes me relatable, similarly to how my dad was to the people he lived around. But at the same time, he preserved me because he needed me for something else. Yeah. And it was hood, around a lot of Bloods, a lot of Crips, a lot of, gang activity and drug. And
the 90s was real for gang activity. You might as well be in LA, in Brooklyn.
Listen, you wear red. Yes, don't let it be an initiation day.
They used to let us out of school early on certain days.
I could wear this jacket on no initiation day. You better.
No. And we get out of school early on Halloween.
What?
Because there's like
get home.
Get home. Yeah.
So listen, it was amazing. It was amazing. And I'll say this lastly in terms of like that upbringing, like, nobody's perfect. No family's perfect. But what I got to witness from my dad and my mom being together, and then I come outside and a lot of my friends or people in the neighborhood, families are broken.
Right.
Or they're like, yeah, I got a brother, but he lived, da-da-da-da, sister, but she lived, da-da-da. And we come outside and it's like, we like each other. It's like me and my siblings, we go outside to play. Yes. We like each other. You know what I'm saying? My brother on my team. What's up? 2-on-2. What's going on? You know what I mean? So something about that, here's what I witnessed. I witnessed a counter narrative that was dropped in the center of another narrative. And I got to live and be exposed to a counter narrative. So I grew up being confident in being different.
Yep.
Because my family was planted and rooted in a neighborhood that we were the counter narrative. So now I can walk around it, and when I'm walking into purpose, I now have become accustomed to knowing purpose sometimes looks different. It sometimes looks black sheepish when white sheep are around you. It sometimes looks like going against the current when everything else is flowing that way. But I got exposed to what it looks like to be a counter narrative. Yeah. So now I'm not lacking confidence when I gotta make counter narrative like decisions as a creative, because I know eventually y'all gonna see why this was valuable.
I'm comfortable in this space.
I'm here.
I can sit here until y'all get it. I can wait.
Sit in it.
I love that.
Y'all get here when you get here. I'ma sit in it.
Absolutely.
Let yourself in when you get here. Me do a plug. Let yourself in when you get here. I'll be right here on this counter narrative, against the current, uncomfortable, isolated couch. And when you get here, I'm ready. So that's probably the most formative thing.
Yeah. That's good.
I got in my upbringing.
That's so good.
Yeah.
You said something in a sermon a couple of months ago. You were talking about how growing up in the church you grew up with, and there's a lot of seasoned saints.
Yes.
And there were things that the seasoned saints would say, right? And I think that our culture is missing that a little bit.
Yeah. Ooh.
We're missing Not that we don't have the seasoned saints. We
got
have
you.
them.
I know what you mean. Go.
But there's two things at work. A lot of seasoned saints are walking in defeat and fear. So they don't feel bold enough to correct.
Yeah.
And then a lot of young people are walking in arrogance and delusion.
Woo!
So they don't know that they need direction and correction, right? So I too miss the seasoned saints. I've actually told people in my life in the last year, I need you to little girl me.
Ooh.
Because what happened, and I don't know if this has happened to you, but people started treating me like we were peers, and they were 20 and 30 years older than me. Did that happen to you? I don't know if it's when I became associate. It's like, well, what do you think? Well, Lish, well, whatever you. And I'm thinking, not whatever I think. I'm 37.
I want to learn from you. Yeah, yeah.
I don't care that I have the position or the title.
Yeah.
You've been a disciple. You've been a Christian. You've been at this walk with Jesus since I was a little kid, or maybe some people before I was born.
Yeah.
I know people who've been married 40 years. I haven't even been alive 40 years. Please don't treat me like a peer. Right. And then on my end, I know that it is my responsibility to empower those people.
That's good.
To correct me and then to have the right attitude when they correct me.
That's good.
So what would you say to both sides? To the seasoned saint who is kind of like, these young kids, man, I ain't saying nothing to them. And then to the younger person, who let's say 40 and down, let's say 40 and under, right? To the younger person, every time I get older, the age for younger moves. right. I'm like 40 and less.
Yeah. Young people. 40 and less.
We be going out some young professional ministry. I'm
10
like,
years ago, you'd be like 30 and under.
but to the 40 and unders, right? Like, give us some correction, rebuke. What do you think?
I
have thoughts, but
I do have thoughts. I think that I want to keep it concise, but there's this story in the book of Ezra, chapter 3. And in Ezra chapter 3, there's this unique thing happening where the temple of Jerusalem is being rebuilt. It had been destroyed by some people that were oppressing the children of Israel, and their temples have been restored, right? Now, right around one of the most amazing, beautiful, galvanizing scriptures in all of scripture is in Ezra chapter 3. Right around verse 13, it says that there were joyful cries coming from the younger generation because of the rebuilding of the temple. They were happy to have their own temple.
Yeah.
And there was wailing and crying from the previous generation who missed the temple of old. Watch this. The Bible says, but if you were off in a distance, the shouts of joy and the people wailing and crying sounded the same. Yes. Here's what's important about that, Lish.
I'm shutting up.
Here's what's important about that, Lish. In that text, there is no assumption of moral failure for either party. Yes. There's nothing that says the people who are shouting for joy in the younger generation who never had their own temple, nothing in the text says they're wrong for that. And nothing in the text says that the older generation who's crying about the older temple that they remember, nothing says that they're wrong for that.
So good.
Nothing in it says. So there's this understanding that you can mourn over what was while I can still rejoice over what's coming, and both sound the same. Meaning God has openness for enough of us that what this generation deems to be important and what this generation deems to be important can coexist. And I think we have to dismantle this idea that because they like something of old, they're wrong. And because you want something new, you're wrong. Yeah. Right? Joel 2 says this. It says, old men will dream dreams, young men have visions, right? But it's posited in the context of a chapter that says his spirit will pour out on all flesh. Yes. So the first thing God is like dismantling is like ageism.
Yep. And sexism.
The sons and daughters will prophesy. I got a whole teaching on that. I didn't think you wanted to go there, but we can go there too. Sons and daughters will prophesy, right? Both prophesy, right? But the ageism in that one verse of the old men dreaming dreams, meaning they have a value to offer. Yes. Young men having visions, they have a value to offer. We have to have an awareness of this bilateral appreciation. Yes. I don't downplay your visions, and you can't downplay my dreams.
This is so good.
I don't think there's enough respect.
Yes.
There's not enough respect, and I think that's key. It's I would even go as far as to say not even just respect. I would go deep and say honor. I'll use a more biblical word. Like honor. There has to be a reverence for the value. To constantly berate each other and degrade each other is an assumption that God didn't put as much value in them as he did in your generation. So that's actually reductionist and like almost disrespectful to God.
Yeah.
It's like reducing him to a time and space when he was there, he is here, and will be there. So it's like, how you going to reduce God to just your generation, right? So if we have true honor for God, we also honor what he has put of value, what he has put that's valuable in the other party that we seem to have a rub or friction with.
100%.
But I'm a little old school too. And I think we got to get back to some what's considered antiquated, but like there's a commitment.
Yep.
There is a focus.
There's a
there is
call.
a diligence that's not as associated with the bag. That's like, I'm just in this.
Yes.
And that's the kind of commitment we saw of old that we don't have nowadays.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm finna read Ezra tomorrow morning in my quiet time.
That's good. Ezra 3 and 13 gonna mess you. It say the cries and the shouts of joy all sound the same.
And it means they were harmonious. Yes. It means they could work together.
That's right.
I love that. That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
I could go on, but I'm not. Listen,
you go move?
You know, put two preachers together.
Right.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay,
because,
okay. Keep it together.
Yes. I want to talk about your amazing family.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember
do it.
this. You and I did a workshop or something at Greater Allen Cathedral
in Queens, New York. Shout out to
Greater Allen Cathedral. And I needed a ride.
I remember.
To the train station, because if you know Greater Allen, it ain't near nothing. It's not near nothing. Like it ain't near no train, maybe a bus, but it ain't near nothing.
I remember.
And I needed a ride, and I was dating this gentleman
right here. I know. Listen, I was excited. I was waiting to get into this. Oh yes.
So we get in the car, and I'm just talking to you and Amanda about life. I'm dating this guy. I really like him. I think he's the one. It's long distance. At the time I was living in Atlanta. He was still living in Brooklyn. And you guys gave me, I don't know if you remember what we talked about, but one of the things you said, we were just chatting. We were just chatting,
but I know it was a very valuable
and you guys were telling me your story and all that stuff. And one of the things that your wife said is, you know, life is just cyclical. Like things happen in cycles. And you'll know that person is the one for you when they can just go through the things with you, you know, like, and because I asked, like, how did you guys know it was the one? She's like, she was like, you know, you go through things.
That's
you
right.
know, you together, not together. You have, you know, she's like, we've known each other since we done seen each other.
We met in high school.
She's like, we've been through things. So when that person can go through things with you, like, that's how you'll know. And I never forgot that, you know, because the truth is, you go through things, you learn things about each other, you learn things about yourself. I tell people all the time, the amount of things I've learned about myself.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, girl, you something else.
Listen.
And so you guys have such a functional plug for your podcast, This Functional Family.
Let's go.
Marriage. I'm sure it's not perfect, but
right.
It's close. Outside.
I'm honored to have a peaceful home I like going home to.
Yes. Insane.
We brag on the opposite a lot and talk about the opposite a lot. You can say, I am glad to have a home I like to go home to.
You guys are such great examples of young marriage, of love. You know, how do you do it? What are some of the things that you guys do to really keep you guys are loving, you're fun, you're flirty. It's not corny. It's not like we're Christians. You know,
Nah.
A lot of things that that I thought as a single person, and I was like, I would look at different marriages.
Yeah.
And there were things I'm like, I'm gonna even take that. I'm gonna take that, and I do. You know, my house is very fun and flirty.
Yeah.
We have a good time up in here.
Let the church say, man. The bishop voice.
But give advice to. We do a lot of giving advice to single people. Give some advice.
Yeah.
To younger married people, let's say 40 and under.
40 and under, the young folks. That's a great question. Of course, I could go so many directions
Yeah.
with it. The first thing I would say is that this is advice I got a while ago, but two masters in a relationship never work, but two servants always work.
That's good.
Two servants always work. I think when you become, not to a fault, not detrimentally, but when you become consumed with the wellness of the one you've been given, and you really trust God that they are consumed with the same, it's not much you got to worry about. They take care of you.
Yes.
They take that can go anywhere. That can go to the bedroom. That can go, because watch this. We think about trust like, oh, I gotta have trust, and yes, you need trust, but we limit trust to just like, are they faithful to me outside of their presence?
Right.
But trust is also about, are the decisions they make in service of our whole. When I'm here right now, when I leave here, what I do with my money matters
Yes.
to the whole of my home.
Correct.
What my wife is doing right now with her time matters to the wellness of my children when they get home from school. Like you tracking?
Yep.
Like trust is much bigger than just outside of my presence. Are you faithful to me?
Right.
It's outside of my presence. Are you making decisions that serve me?
Yeah.
Right? And we are in a self-absorbed, here's the challenge, right? Speaking of that, like countercultural, counter narrative you have to be when you're called to something. We're in such a self-absorbed context that you just have to be really sensitive to what's informing what you think the summit or the apex of a good relationship is. So if you're being informed by a society that is, the minute somebody do you wrong,
You out.
and it's like, that's not realistic, because I'm not saying to take anything, but it's not realistic because there's some things that when you're living with a human are just going to happen.
Yep.
It's just going
Fact.
to happen. So I think a lifelong journey of servanthood is the answer.
Yeah.
Like I am regularly trying to figure out how to serve that woman I live with.
Yeah.
And I know it helps her in how we both love our children. It helps her in how she reciprocates that servanthood and that love.
Yeah.
Like I know we talk about love, but we don't realize how much servanthood
Yes.
is involved
my
in love,
goodness.
right? Like the epitome, the really popular scripture, John 3:16, the epitome of love is like that God gave.
Yes.
And it's like something had to be sacrificed in order for him to really embody this picture of love that we would understand.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a lifelong journey of servanthood is really the answer.
That's good. That's really good. Let's talk about your babies.
Let's
You
talk
have 3
about
daughters.
them. Yes.
How's being a dad changed you for the better?
Listen, I would say this. There are ways that there are different things in life that are teachers, right? I'm going to say that this is no slight to anybody that's not a parent. I want to be very clear.
Yeah.
This is my experience. Parenting is one of what I believe, it is one of the most formative ways to become like Jesus.
Yeah.
Like to me, parenting is an invite into becoming more like Christ.
Yeah.
Like other things teach you too. Suffering teaches you. Right? Hebrews 5 says Jesus learned obedience through suffering. Right? So suffering teaches you. You just talked about it. Marriage teaches you. Something about parenthood teaches you so much about, like right now we have an 11-month-old at home. She turns 1. We have 3 kids, but our youngest is 11 months. She turns 1 this year, right? And here's the deal. She can't do anything for me right now that I can do for her. Yeah. It is unilateral love. It goes one direction.
Yeah.
I feed her, I clothe her, I protect her.
Yeah. Change the diaper.
I change her diaper.
Yeah.
I wake her up, put her to sleep, kissing her. I'm giving her affection, giving her attention, giving her appreciation, giving her affirmation. She's not doing any of that for me. Right? What other dynamic can you learn the love of Christ that fast? It's like an accelerated program into learning how to love like Jesus. And here's what I love about kids, and I'll close with this when it comes to my girls. I love my children. Here's what I love about kids. Parenting will only be successful when both parties remain students. So if you look at Proverbs, right? I know it's a book of wisdom, but if you look at the authors, the sages of Proverbs, the wise people who are writing, mainly Solomon, but there's other sages that are writing, they're writing to their sons.
Yeah.
They're writing, it's actually a letter to your son about how to practically navigate earth. If you read who their audience is, it's not meant for the world, it's meant for their child, right? About how to practically navigate the world.
Yeah.
So we have a parental responsibility to teach our children how to navigate
I've
earth.
never thought about that like that.
But watch this on the flip side. Fast forward New Testament, Mark 10. Like one of the only 3 times or 2 times you see Jesus get mad in scripture is when his disciples try to keep the children from him. The Bible says he grows indignant. And he says, suffer not the little, right? Suffer the little children, bring them to me, right? He puts them on his lap. He said, unless y'all become like one of them, you won't enter the kingdom of heaven.
Yes.
Watch this. Proverbs teaches us what our responsibility is to them. But Mark 10 teaches us what their responsibility is to us.
Oh, child.
We have an assignment to help them navigate earth. If we remain in the posture of a student as a parent, they are assigned to help us get to heaven.
Yeah.
It's dual apprenticeship.
Yeah. I love that.
How do they grow into successful adults here on this earth? How does our soul go into childhood to get to heaven? It's happening both ways. And I can't stop learning and they can't stop learning.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
That I sit and I watch them girls all day.
I love it. You have very confident daughters too.
Oh my God.
I got to know that a good amount of that's because of your wife, because Amanda's very confident. She's very much, it's so funny. She is not like a wallflower at all. You may think
you think it's that way.
No.
She's quiet on the surface, but when she let you in,
when she's comfortable,
you get to know.
And she's super smart as well.
Absolutely.
What are you doing to instill in your daughters, as Black women, a level of confidence that they can show up the way I've seen your daughter rap, all of it, that they can show up the way that they're showing up.
That's so good. I've learned, shout out to Denise Boggs, some of the work she does with parenting and children. There are 4 A's that every child is actually searching for. That when any of those A's are not fulfilled in their childhood, there are more fractured ways that they go and try to replace it in adulthood. Attention, affirmation, appreciation, affection. Attention, affirmation, appreciation, affection. I am very intentional about making sure I hit all those markers every day. When my daughters are telling me about something that happened at school, I'm not scrolling while they talk. I look them in their eyes. I listen. Attention.
Yeah.
Affirmation, before I drop them off to school, we say the same thing every morning. I am blessed. I am brave. I am brilliant. I am beautiful. I say it. They repeat after me every morning without fail, right before I drop them to school. I am blessed. I am brave. I am brilliant. I am beautiful.
I love that.
Affirmation every day. It's in them. It's in them, right? So attention, affirmation, appreciation. They do something for me, I say thank you. I don't just like, girl, go give me the, right?
Give me the remote.
Yeah, it's like, thank you, baby, I appreciate it.
Yes.
Right?
And they see you appreciate their mom.
Come on. You got to model it. If we go there, we could go there, but right? And then affection.
Yeah.
Now, affection can look different, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get into like love language word, but like right now for Emery, who's still a baby, her affection is just let me grab your face and let me rub up on you and let me get up under you when it's time to sleep, right? For Yaya, who's 10, it's like when you drop me to school, Daddy, don't kiss me in front of my friends. I'll give you a hug when I get home. Okay, if that's when you want it, that's when you're going to get it. But I know you want it. I know that's what helps to mold a healthy child. So I give her that affection. I just cater it to when she wants the affection. She wants the affection when I come home from work. Yeah. That's when I give it to her. Yeah. I ain't going to embarrass her in front of her friends.
Right.
She wanted it, that's when I give it to her.
That's amazing.
But I make sure I like on a daily basis, I try to hit all 4 of those things.
I love that. Yeah. You and your wife have a podcast called This Functional Family.
Yeah.
And you guys give marriage advice, intimacy advice. Y'all be buying people free lunch sometimes, all sorts of things. What's your favorite thing about that podcast and just about having a platform where you can talk about family?
Listen, I think that, as I mentioned earlier, there are narratives that float on the internet, on the media, and sometimes even in the corridors of our own minds based on our experience. And we always look at healing as just something that happens to the body. But I'm going into some Christian context, right? But like when you look at that word salvation, like when Jesus saves us, where we get the word saved from, that word salvation, it comes from the word salve, S-A-L-V-E, which is actually in context historically used to be associated with healing elixirs, right? So salve, that we get the word salvation from, meaning to be saved is not just to be bought back and redeemed from a thing, but it's also to be healed.
Yeah. Come on, balm in Gilead.
It's the balm in Gilead.
Yes.
So I think that we have found that there are narratives that float that cause sickness, that cause hopelessness, or the sickness of hopelessness in love. I remember when you got out my car the other year and you were talking about your now husband, who you were just dating at the time. I remember when you got out, me and Amanda prayed for you.
Amen.
Me and Amanda lifted y'all up for the longevity, for the peace, for the wisdom that if he ain't the one, God let her know. Now we never got to just you don't know this. We prayed for you.
Wow.
So it's like,
wow,
it's so many like negative narratives that are causing deterioration of the soul and a sickness. And it's like, how do I offer hope as healing?
Yeah.
Because the body's not the only thing that needs to be healed.
Yes.
Our hearts, our soul, the word we get, hey, I'm going to get into the preachy nerdy bag, but like the word we get soul from is suke in the Greek. But it's P-S-Y-C-H-E. It's just pronounced suke.
Ooh.
That's where we get psyche from. It's so the soul is the mind, the will, the affections, imaginations, emotions.
Yeah.
That's the suke. That's the soul.
Oh,
so
good.
All of those things need healing because they're broken by a fractured world.
Yeah.
So the most exciting thing that we get to do is like when people DM us like, yo, that episode changed how I talk to my wife. That episode or that content changed how I deal with my child, even when I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's so good.
It's the testimonies. It's the healing.
Yeah.
It's the salvation.
I love it. All right, I got two more questions for you.
Do your thing.
I have
I'm
others,
sorry,
but I got
I'm
no. It's fine. It's fine. I love
sorry.
this. This is me. I love it. You are a campus minister, associate minister at Change Church, big church in Atlanta.
Yeah.
4 services on a Sunday.
My God, pray for me, y'all.
You guys are getting ready to go into a new territory there as well.
Yeah.
You're serving under a worldwide known pastor, Dr. Darius Daniels, who I quote almost every episode. People be like, don't you go to a different church? I'm like, I do, but I be watching.
He's brilliant.
And I sneak into Change whenever I can, whenever my schedule allows me to. What is it like for you as a man of God being under submission in this role, but also knowing that God has, called you to some things as well? I feel like you play the line so well. Like you maybe not playing, right? Clock it.
There you go.
You respect that line so well. I feel like there's no ego. You're just happy to be of service.
Yeah, that's it.
How does that feel? How does that work? Being under somebody like that.
Yeah, I think it's at first it's intimidating, of course, especially when you start to see how he actually views you. And it's like, oh, you think that highly of me? You know what I mean? It's like, wow, okay, you have to have a healthy heart. Yeah. Because you don't want pride to sneak in or ego to sneak in. But in addition to that, you also don't see, we always talk about like ego and pride, but we also don't talk about how the enemy also uses low self-esteem.
Yes, and insecurity.
Heavy. Right? So it's like ego and pride are like the evil twins of another twin that's just as bad. Yeah. It looks just like it. Insecurity and low self-esteem also plays a factor. So you got to make sure your heart is free from both ends of that spectrum. Yeah. But I think here's what I understand about visionary leaders like a Darius Daniels. When your dream is so big that other people's dreams fit in it, that's when you attract and draw other visionaries. That man's vision for the kingdom of God is so large, my dream actually fits.
Fit in it. That's good.
And when you know God's called you to a person, as opposed to being resistant to, I should be doing, let God coast, because a lot of things you should be doing will be better under that.
Yes, 1,000%. Oh, that's so good.
I think I've learned.
Yeah.
For my time with him, and God might do other things, right?
Yeah.
And he might call me somewhere else or whatever, right? But right now, that's home. That's my pastor
For such a time as this, yes.
I think his vision for how he wants to get Jesus into the world is so big.
Yeah.
That my dream fits in it.
Yeah.
And that's why I can.
That's good. That reminds me of something that you said in a sermon as well, where you talked about so many people being under what you call the demonic snare of comparison. I feel like you don't struggle with that. Do you?
Yeah, I think I think if you got eyes, you struggle with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if you got eyes, you struggle with it, but it's not. I think here's a problem. One well, he's not a pastor now. He used to pastor, but one guy, Sean Lovejoy, he would say this to leaders. He would say, some of us have problems to be solved, and sometimes we have tensions to be managed. And if we call the tension a problem, we'll spend a lifetime trying to solve something that I'm not supposed to solve. I'm just supposed to manage. So when it comes to like that comparison snare that traps so many of us, I don't think it's a problem we solve. I think it's a tension we manage.
Yeah.
And when we realize that, we won't continue to feel like we're like failing at it. It's like, oh yeah, I do like what he's doing. I do like what they're doing. Then you remain, watch this, you remain receptive enough that you could be learning from someone instead of envying the thing.
Because you're wasting time.
You're wasting time envying.
Yes.
It's like,
well,
if it is something I feel I'm called to, why play the comparison game about what they got, what I don't got? It's like, what could I learn from them?
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think when you like reframe that, you don't give, because comparison is like the front door into envy's house.
Yes.
So it's like, first it starts as comparison, and then it's like, come on in. And then you get in, it's like, envy lives here?
Yes.
Toxic jealousy lives here? No, I didn't mean to walk in this door.
And what I tell people all the time is you can't go into the devil's house and then tell him to stay in a corner.
Right.
Once you go in, he's taking over. It's over. You know what I mean?
So I think when you see comparison, you got to be able to reframe it and say, okay, let me not fight against what I'm feeling to compare, but what is inspiring or informing my need to compare? It's like, oh, because I want more in this area.
Yeah.
All right, well, then what can I learn?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I love that. We asked a question to close out our show here.
Okay.
And that is, in the grand scheme of things, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, shoot.
I know it's a deep one, right?
That's heavy. In the grand scheme of things, what do I want my legacy to be? I think it's a theme that's kind of been threading in the tapestry of this conversation. I think I want my legacy to be the answer for people who are trying to soar as a servant.
That's good.
I think I want my life to be, this is how you can soar from down here.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Soaring as a servant.
Reminds me of the scripture that talks about Jesus stooping down to make us great, stooping down to lift us up. I love that. Listen, this was incredible. This is one of those episodes where I know I'm going to go back and watch it so intensely because you gave us Bible, you gave us jokes, you gave us all.
Listen, I enjoyed my time.
So thank you so much for being here. Tell the people where they can find you, anything you got coming up, let them know.
For sure. Listen, you can find me at The Real Deshawn, that's DASHAWN Robinson, The Real Deshawn Robinson. You can find me everywhere at that. And on YouTube, Official Redeem. Go check out some music videos.
We didn't even get into the music, bro.
Listen,
that's
it's all
crazy.
good. It's all good.
That's how we know each other.
Right. But that just goes to show how full our cups are in this season.
Yes.
Our cups are full. So yeah, man, y'all follow us. Dysfunctional Family TV, not dysfunctional, but this THIS Functional Family TV on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on everything, TikTok, all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate you.
I know that my community is going to eat this up, so I'm not even worried about it.
I love it. I'm honored.
Listen, this has been another episode of I'll Just Let Myself In with your girl Lish Speaks. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, we are not waiting for imaginary permission slips. If you can let yourself into somewhere, that means the mechanism to get into that place is available to you. The key is under the mat. It's inside the rock. The door might be automatic. If you just walk close enough to it, it may open for you. That's how we operate here at this podcast. So please let yourself in. If you're watching us on Holy Culture Sirius XM channel 140, thank you so much. If you're catching this on Holy Culture's YouTube or on my personal YouTube, Lish Speaks, thank you so much. Please share it with a friend if it blessed you. Share it with somebody if you love it. Share it with somebody if you feel like there was a gem drop that they just have to hear. We also would love your reviews. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, leave us a review. Let us know how you're feeling about the podcast. Also share with your friends there. And last but not least, we have an email, speakers@lishspeaks.com, where you can send us questions, thoughts, feelings. Maybe if you're too shy to leave a public review, you can tell us how you feel there. We'd be happy to hear from you. I can't wait to see you again for another one next week. Love you for real. Peace.
So I'ma have a great day.